everyone. I am Vyas Srinivasan, and welcome to the Bright Colors of Inspiration. I would like to thank you all for supporting me and my podcast. I will be talking about different types of criticism and ways to handle it. At one point or another, all of us have gotten criticism from others, even from those who we love and look up to the most. Why do people criticize others? Well, there are many different possible reasons, some of which may include insecurity, jealousy, wanting to look superior, desire for attention, anger and frustration, and so on. With that in mind, it can easily be said that people don't see me for who I am, they see me for who they are. And a great analogy to describe this is the projector and the movie screen. The projector is the person criticizing me. The movie screen is me. The person criticizing me is projecting their emotions onto me and making it seem like I am not good enough. A lesson learned from this is that when someone puts you down and makes you feel bad, it is usually because they are unhappy with their own lives, and that has nothing to do with you, which is why we shouldn't take it personal. I learned that no matter what I do, people will always find a reason to criticize me. If I dress simple, people will tell me I am poor. If I dress nicely, people will tell me I show off. If I get a bad grade in school, people will say I am lazy. If I get an outstanding grade in school, people will say I took a shortcut. There are two types of criticism: constructive and destructive. Constructive criticism is the type of criticism that is given to help the other person improve. An example of what this might sound like is, I love your podcasts and the scripts you write, and I can tell you work really hard to produce them. But sometimes it sounds like you read off the script. So maybe you can try to use bullet points instead of reading off the scripts. That way, the quality of what you're saying sounds better. Destructive criticism is the type of criticism that is given to belittle, harm, and put the other person down. An example of this would be saying something like, if I'm telling you the truth, the content in your recent podcast episodes are stale, which is probably why not as many people are listening to it. So, you should suspend the podcast and spend time on something more productive. This is really not worth your time. Criticism is not always black or white. There is a gray area when it comes to constructive and destructive criticism. There is a video I watched on YouTube where a girlfriend does not support her boyfriend's aspirations. There was this guy who was pursuing his master's degree to become a lawyer, but wanted to be a YouTuber. His girlfriend wanted him to stop filming YouTube videos and focus entirely on law school. She keeps on belittling his dream and says that making videos on YouTube is never going to get him anywhere, and that it is a waste of time. After saying all that, she goes on to say, "You have so much potential. You just have to stay focused." At first glance, that sounds supportive, but if I think about it carefully, I realize that the girlfriend is basically telling her boyfriend that he is wasting his potential and not being productive. And she is manipulating him so that he would give up his passion of filming YouTube videos to focus only on getting his law degree, which is what she wants. In other words, she was really only saying that so that he and his money would benefit her in the future. This is an example of a backhanded compliment, which is basically a compliment that is not really a compliment at all. So, it's essentially an insult disguised as a compliment. Another example of what could be a backhanded compliment would be telling someone something like, "I can see that you are self-motivated to play piano. Why are you not showing that same level of self-motivation for physics?" Thinking about it, it may seem like the person is concerned about his or her academic performance. However, it could also come across as a backhanded compliment because it could mean that their hobby and passion is a waste of time and is not as worthy. Harsh criticism can also be expressed with unsolicited advice from others. Unsolicited advice is basically unwanted advice from others, and it usually has a negative effect on our mental health. Personally, it has made me feel like I am not capable of making my own decisions, and that I am not being productive. Some examples of unsolicited advice are telling someone how to live their life and what to do with it, telling someone to only focus their time on one thing and forget about everything else. So it's basically telling someone to stop doing the things that matter to them, and so on. Even though the advice may be given to me with good intentions, it may not always go along with my goals and dreams. There are a few strategies that help in dealing with harsh criticism. Number 1. Listen to what the other person is saying. Whenever people say things about me that are not the nicest, I often have the tendency to become defensive. Sometimes it is a good idea to be open to hearing what the other person is saying, so that I can see if the criticism is constructive or destructive. In some cases, the person criticizing me may be coming from a place of concern. Although their delivery may be poor, their underlying message may actually be good. That is why I think we are better off listening carefully to the other person rather than cutting them off or talking back to them. Number 2, don't respond right away. I have been in situations in which, whenever I am harshly criticized, I respond right away. So I ended up saying things that I would regret later on. What I have learned is to take a step back and process what I am hearing from the other person. And when I do that, I am able to see the bigger picture and the context of the criticism. When the criticism is given to me, it causes me to get butterflies in my stomach. So that is not the time to respond. It is better to just process it for a while, and after processing everything, I believe it is best to respond with kindness, regardless of whether the criticism they gave was constructive or destructive. I find that responding with anger and frustration will only aggravate the situation. Number 3, recognize the context. After carefully listening to what the other person said, it is very important to see the context and the motive behind the criticism. As I have talked about earlier, someone telling me, "You are capable and you just need to concentrate," may sound supportive, but it could be a manipulation tactic if that person was criticizing me right before. I cannot just take what they said and think it means something big. Digging deeper, what that other person is basically telling me is that what I am doing is not good enough, and they're basically shutting down what matters to me. Simply put, they belittled my dream, and now all of a sudden, they say I am capable and I need to concentrate. Therefore, it is a backhanded compliment. Number 4, choose whether to agree or disagree with the criticism. Whenever I receive any form of criticism, I believe it is a good idea to take what the other person is saying and change things up a bit, with the goal of improving. I can sometimes find it difficult to do that when the criticism given to me is destructive. Over time, I have gotten better at taking the parts of the criticism I agree with and filtering out the rest. Another thing to keep in mind is whom the criticism is coming from. Some questions I like to ask myself are, is it coming from a close friend or family member? Does this person have my best interest in mind? And so on. Personally, I find it more hurtful if the harsh criticism comes from a close friend or family member than it does coming from a random stranger. I have learned that I should take criticism with a grain of salt if it's coming from someone whom I would not want to trade places with. If the person criticizing me does not even have any experience in what I'm doing, or isn't the niche I am focusing on, then I really shouldn't let it affect me too much. Number 5, think positive things about myself. Growing up, I used to watch videos of scenarios that are designed to teach social skills. And I recall watching this one scenario where a kid was making mean comments to another student. And the message from that scenario was to think positive thoughts about myself when people say not so nice things about me. With that being said, there are affirmations which are helpful in thinking positively about myself. I am talented. I am capable. I am very kind. I am loved. I am possible. I am strong. I am compassionate. I am grateful. I am cool. I am confident. I am a positive light. I am a great friend. I am proud of myself. I am creative. I can get through any challenge. I can make a positive difference in this world. I can be anything I want to be in life. I will not give up on my goals and dreams. I will stay calm. I will learn from my mistakes. I will only compare myself with my past self. I will get up whenever I get knocked down. I belong here. I bring out the best in others. I have overcome many challenges in life, and this time will be no different. I have what it takes. I have a place in this world. I have come a long way. Okay, so those are some of the affirmations that I like to use whenever I receive harsh criticism from other people. I would like to turn my attention and now talk about giving constructive feedback. To give constructive feedback, I would like to explain the feedback sandwich method, which I've learned about. The top slice is where we begin with a positive comment. The filling is where we say our constructive feedback. And the bottom slice is where we end the constructive feedback with a comment that is positive and supportive. Here are a few examples of giving constructive feedback using the feedback sandwich method. Example number 1. Giving feedback on a friend's piano performance. The top slice is, "You did amazing playing the piano today." The filling is, "I feel like there are things that could be improved. Maybe consider playing a little softer and try to add more dynamics to the songs you play to make it sound more sweet." The bottom slice is, "Overall, I am very proud of you. Keep up the great work." Example number 2. Giving feedback to a YouTuber who is filming a YouTube video. The top slice is, "What you said was good." The filling is, "But as far as how you delivered it, to me it sounded a little forced. Just relax and try it with more confidence." The bottom slice is, "You can do it. I believe in you." Example number 3. Giving feedback on a student's math test results. The top slice is, "You did a good job on your math test." The filling is, "Although there are some parts that you could improve on, I noticed that you have the tendency to make one of the easier questions way more complicated. So maybe try this simpler method to solve problems like this in the future." The bottom slice is, "Overall, you are improving, and I admire your hard work and dedication. So keep at it." Those are some examples of giving constructive feedback using the feedback sandwich method. I would like to touch on the example of destructive criticism that I discussed earlier. If I'm telling you the truth, the content in your recent podcast episodes are stale, which is probably why not as many people are listening to it. So, you should suspend the podcast and spend time on something more productive. This is really not worth your time. Now, I want to take that example and say it in a constructive way. I enjoy listening to your podcasts, and I can tell that you put in a lot of thought and creativity into making them. But recently, it seems to me that your content has been getting repetitive. Do you think you need to take a break? Is releasing a new episode every week too much? Personally, I think it would be a good idea to release a new episode less frequently and focus on the quality of your content to make it as best as it can be. I believe that this example is much better because it starts with a positive and supportive comment and then gets into the feedback, which is delivered in a helpful and constructive way. People are going to give criticism that is either constructive or destructive, and we have no control over what the other person does or says. But it is up to us how we respond. There is this quote I found on the Power of Positivity page, which sums up what I talked about in simple terms. Accept both compliments and criticism. It takes both sun and rain for a flower to grow. Something I want to give more context on with this quote is that the criticism we get may be destructive, and in that case, try to find the underlying message. If my content inspires you with bright colors, feel free to share it with your family and friends. I am Vyas Srinivasan, and I will see you in the next episode. Thank you for listening. I hope you have an awesome day.